Welcome to the BoshNRoll channel. If you want to support my daily Eternal Magic offerings while getting amazing perks like the Discord community, have me play your deck on the channel, or my list and sideboard guides before tournaments, check out Patreon or the YouTube membership program. This channel is made possible by these amazing sponsors. Check out all their links in the video description below. Once again, thanks for being here. Let's go play some Magic. Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy, and this is from Patreon subscriber Brendan, who gave me a dealer's choice to do whatever I want. And what I want to do is keep exploring control in this new post-expressive iteration format. The floating bounty from channel supporter Spunky is still out there too. An extra bounty if I 5-0 with any control deck. That's live for this league. And what I'm doing here is Jeskai Days Undoing. This is a deck that won the showcase qualifier in the hands of Juju Bean, and it's been absolutely farming me in all my efforts to play control since then. This was a deck that was super popular last year for a little while until the metagame adjusted to it. It's a deck that I played at a paper tournament. I put my money where my mouth is. I thought this deck was genuinely great at the time, and it was. And the cool thing about Legacy is that things come back again. It's a big old format with lots of time to breathe, and this deck is just back at the forefront all of a sudden. And what this deck does extremely well is that when it needs to be a blue-white control deck, you have Swords to Plowshares, Prismatic Ending, Supreme Verdict, Wandering Emperor, Teferi, 6 forces between Will and Negation, then all the normal cantrips you'd expect, and then you get some Counterspell, and then Narset. All of those things are there when you need to be blue-white control and go slow. But then you also have 4 Narset, a Hull Breacher, and 2 Days Undoing to shove down the opponent's throat backed by Force of Will when you need to go fast. This is basically Azorius Control and Show and Tell played into the same package. If you think of Days Undoing and Narset as AB, if you think of that as Show and Tell Emrakul, this deck will make a lot of sense. At least the play patterns of that half of the deck will. But unlike Show and Tell, Hull Breacher and Narset are reasonable permanents to put into play, just heads up without the B involved. Resolving a Show and Tell when you don't have a monster in your hand to pay you out is kind of bad, but resolving a Narset is still kind of good. And the messed up thing is your Show and Tell, in the form of Narset, gets to look at 8 cards trying to find your Emrakul, which is Days Undoing. And it's really hard for your opponent to pressure you while you're doing this because you're a deck full of white removal and counterspells. As far as actual win conditions go, last year the deck was playing some number of Shark Typhoon, which is a really good thing to do with Hull Breachers. The list last year had 3 or 4 Hull Breachers on top of your 4 Narsets. It was really going for this. This one showed a little more restraint. You've got a little more interactive spells with Dress Down in here. And there's even a 1 of Murktide Regent to get the job done when you're dealing damage. There are actually only 3 ways to win a game in this deck. It's Wandering Emperor, Murktide Regent, and Hull Breacher. If all of those are exiled somehow, you actually can't win. But most people will scoop to a Days Undoing Narset situation. You have 7 cards in your hand, they have 0. If you have Hull Breacher, they have 0, and you have 7 treasures. You should be able to figure it out from there. And Days Undoing recycles your threats if they get countered or killed early on, so you get extra looks at them. This is a bare bones win condition situation, which is exactly the type of Magic I like to play. Tons of basic lands, so you are insulated naturally against Wasteland, and you have so many basics you can put Blood Moon in your sideboard. That's just another 3 mana hammer for specific matchups. You get to play Rest in Peace, which kind of steps on your Murktide Regent, but it's going to be worse for your opponent than it is for you if you bring it in. Pyroblast, Hydroblast, Flusterstorm, Surgical. This is just a who's who of hyper-efficient sideboard cards in a deck that is both Azorius Control and Show and Tell at the same time. It's an important deck in the format right now. Be aware of it. It's always out there, but it's having a moment right now. And let's go play it. This is Brendan's Jeskai Undoing. I'm on the draw in round 1. My hand can Prismatic on 1, Counterspell on 2, Teferi on 3. I'll keep and hope we're in some sort of matchup where my opponent wants to go back and forth a little bit. Ice Cold to combo, as many of my opening hands are on this channel. I am currently in the predicament, unless I draw a fetch land or basic island, that I can't play my spells in the order I want to play them if I don't lead on non-basics. So I'll just do that. Now there's a Force of Will. Drawing Ponder is nice. Always happy to see that. Don't shuffle this. There is a reasonable argument that I should have led on Volcanic Island because I care less if that one gets wasted. My red cards are in the sideboard or the third pip for Prismatic Ending. Okay, a snow-covered forest. I think this is going to be Omni Show, which might be a weirdly specific read. But snow-covered forest, Misty Rain Forest, this is an Icefang Coatl strategy of some kind. And there's like Aloran, Food Chain, Omni Show are that wedge of the format. Now I have the choice of Shove Teferi or hold up Counterspell and Force for another turn cycle. I think shoving Teferi makes sense. Who's the Show and Tell deck now? If they counter Teferi, oh nice, and they just didn't. Should I respect Dryad Arbor as an attacker? Probably. I'm going to plus Teferi instead of minus to draw a random card. Because if Dryad Arbor comes out of this Misty and kills my Teferi for free, I'm going to be real disappointed. What they can do here is main phase Veil of Summer and then cast Show and Tell, if that is what they're doing. Prismatic Ending my Teferi. Okay. If I force pitching Brainstorm, I get to keep my Planeswalker, but I lose Brainstorm. I think this is going to be important. Prismatic Ending, I'm starting to think this is a more fair deck than I originally read. Force of Negation's pretty cool. Now I am going to draw a card. Target nothing. It's Mystic Sanctuary, looking pretty embarrassing. I am going to hold out hope for it, though. I could have played it this turn and been showing Hardcast Force next turn. But I have Counterspell and Force of Negation to bridge the gap here, and I would like to, do something else. Ponder shuffled. And main phase Coatl. I'm not going to fight over this. Ending can kill it. Teferi plussing stays out of range of it. Cool. Like a Narset. I think I'm going to wait to deploy her, though. I'm going to take my medicine on Mystic Sanctuary tapped. But with Teferi plus, I can Prismatic Ending Coatl and Counterspell a spell, and then next turn play Narset onto a empty board with more blue mana available. Your own Narset. No thanks. Counterspell this. I would have Force of Negationed it if this land came into play untapped, but it didn't. Just empty the board and then stick my own Narset with Force backup. Plus Teferi. Tap all my red for Narset because I don't really need that. Looking for Days Undoing, and I found it. My opponent should concede pretty soon here. I didn't have land number 6, unfortunately, and Brainstorm wouldn't help me find it, but I can Force of Will to survive this turn, or Force of Negation. There we go. Yep, Show and Tell strategy. Slow and steady. So we're against some sort of Green Sun Zenith, probably Green Sun Zenith control deck. Could just be Bant Undoing, I guess, and maybe there's no Zenith, maybe there's no Juke. But we saw Icefang Coatl. That's a deck with enough basic lands to turn on Coatl. I probably just want Pyroblast here. Without seeing Zenith, I don't know what their twist is. This could be Aloran Food Chain or Zenith, or just Bant Undoing. I'm not going to get too cute with Rest in Peace and Containment Priest and stuff, so just Pyroblast, keep it light. Force of Negation is kind of a clunker. I don't know that I need 2 Supreme Verdicts for this matchup. I got Spot Removal, doubling up my Spot Removal with Pyroblast. Force of Will still alive. Counterspell, Dress Down. Maybe Dress Down is worse than Supreme Verdict. I could go 1-1 and just be able to answer 2 things. Yeah, I'll try it like that. I'll split them up until I know more about their deck. Island Ponder Keep. This deck could conceivably have Wasteland or Back to Basics in it. I think it would be kind of insane to bring in Back to Basics against me. But maybe they don't know that. 2 removal spells. I already have 4 lands, so yeah, this is actually pretty good spread here. I have 4 lands representing all my colors. I've got 2 removal spells, plus the Pyroblast. Brainstorm with a shuffle available. Gonna Prismatic Vista go here. Starting to crack fetch lands at land number 3. We're gonna see Narset. Are we going back to basics? What's going on here? They appear to have some sort of 3-drop. Just big Uro. I am going to plow Uro on the front. I just don't want that to be part of the game. At least not this easily. And I want to save Pyroblast for bigger fish than this. Now I'm drawing a land here, which means I'm going to want to Brainstorm. I will just do that now. Put back Basic Mountain and Tundra. And then I can fetch a Basic Island and Ponder. Could have also shoved Murktide there, but I'm not in a hurry to do that. This is a powerful spread of cards. If only one of these ends up in my hand because I have to Pyroblast this turn, I want it to be Brainstorm. Opponent's got 6 cards, and now they're ahead in extra land drop because of the Uro. Now I have the choice. Do I fetch Volcanic Island and just bet that they did not bring it back to basics? I think I do. This gives me Mystic Sanctuary. Okay, they've got something here. Veil of Summer or Flusterstorm would do it. Blue Blast would do it. Veil of Summer doesn't draw a card, but does make a card uncounterable. Flusterstorm, sure. Okie dokie. You've got a Narset for now. They are way ahead on the 2-for-1 game so far. Just takes one busted Planeswalker to catch up. Another Narset in hand. Don't like that. Okay, I can Prismatic Ending their Narset, but I know that doesn't matter because they have another one. I think I just want a Murktide region here. I'm going to leave Pyroblast in the graveyard and try to Mystic Sanctuary that up next turn. I might get my day undone right now. This is a pure Bant deck. I haven't seen a 4th color with multiple Narsets. Days Undoing is probably a payout that they have access to. Ponder. Here's a Ponder. Did not shuffle. Teferi. Pain in my ass. Alright, Murktide is back in my hand. Now I've got multiple problems to answer. I think that picking up my Pyroblast here is still part of the equation. Svincoatl in response to Mystic Sanctuary, okay. I'm going to blast Narset to start because I need to resolve this Brainstorm because I'm not really doing anything. Blast Narset. Brainstorm. Try to get something going here. Okay. This is certainly something. What does it do? I can Pyroblast Teferi, replay Murktide. If I'm going to do that, I should send... Days Undoing is a ways away from being helpful, but that is my eject button to the game. I don't think I'm ready for an eject button. And they're about to play another Narset. Okay, Days Undoing and Prismatic Vista go away. And my Basic Mountain is my red source I'm allowed to fetch. Pyroblast Teferi. Murktide's back. Unfortunately, that line left me without double white. The Wandering Emperor currently stranded. There's the second Narset. This is why the first Narset in these Narset mirrors is so important. You get to shut off your opponent's cantrips while just guaranteeing the second thing. Oh god. This is definitely a Days Undoing deck, by the way. This density of Teferis and Narsets only means one thing, and it's this. Murktide loop in here. Force of Will, not a helpful card. Prismatic Ending Narset. I'm more worried about Narset than Teferi, even though I have Force in my hand. Narset's the one that kills me immediately. Teferi at least lets me pretend that I'm playing Magic. Okay. Yep. We're just skipping Narsets through. Seen most of their deck at this point. Force of Will back up. Hard cast. It would be entirely reasonable to concede this game. And that's what I'm going to do. I can't cast the one spell that might do something on this board. And they have Force back up, and they're just getting all the hooks in. Okay. Now that I know that they have this massive density of Planeswalkers, I think I want Dress Down out entirely, Supreme Verdict out entirely, and +2 Force Negations. And I'm just going to try to get after it. I could bring in the one Surgical or a Rest in Peace to just take Uro out of the mix, but if I have Narset and Hullbreacher, Uro's not a huge problem anyway. Okay, I'm not going to do that. Keep. I go Basic Island Ponder. There's a Hullbreacher to go with my Days Undoing. I won't need that for a couple turns. I'll pop Brainstorm in my hand for now. Opponent also Island Ponders. Respectable. Also did not shuffle. Trying a basic island here. I know my next card is Hull Breacher. Just going to chill right now. Finding red's going to be pretty important in my overall plan. Carpet of Flowers, tilt. Okay. Yep. I couldn't play around that. Let's see what they do with their 3 mana here. This is actually a huge beating. They made only blue, which means they have Narset. Jesus. Oh, fuck. I was supposed to brainstorm in response. Oh, God. I'm falling apart. I can at least remove the carpet. I'll start with that. Huge miss, not brainstorming in response to Narset. That was so bad. They're activating Narset. Let's hope they don't have any more mana. That would be great for me. Flusterstorm. So they have Flusterstorm and Brainstorm. Neither of those cards counter Hull Breacher. Alright, the red was there. Don't worry about it. We're all good. If they Brainstorm, I can Hull Breacher with... Oh, I can just do this now. Okay, if I let Coatl resolve, then I get a treasure. Swords to Plowshares beats me here. Alright, well, Coatl resolves, and I'm going to go for this. Hope they don't have Plow. Okay, they forced pitching Brainstorm. And I know they still have Fluster, so I need to let this happen. I'm going to have to use my Pyroblast to clear Narset or fight over Days Undoing at some point. And this Flusterstorm... Oh, there's another Brainstorm, sure. Land. Oh, God. The carpet out of this Bant deck. This is what I was talking about. Like, 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago, when this deck was new, this Jeskai deck, nobody was ready for it. But now we're just getting picked apart by some sideboard tech out of different control decks. Well, we are all losing all of our resources anyway, but I will try to Pyroblast Narset in response. It'll get flustered, and then the turn will be over. I get 1 card off this Narset draw. Oh, there's the Fluster. I do have all my colors up through Brainstorm and Days Undoing. Cool. Okay. Beat by Carpet of Flowers. And that is the weakness of these blue decks full of islands. And my hand was all islands. I couldn't have played or fetched or not fetched around that. Not brainstorming in response to Narset, there were 2 cards that I could have seen this game that we'll never know about that might have changed things, but the Flusterstorm backing up the Pyroblast. I guess I could have sequenced differently, like Pyroblast. If I don't play Hull Breacher, then I can pay for Fluster on... Okay, so if I Pyroblast Narset, if I don't play Hull Breacher on the Coatl, I can Pyroblast Narset. They force that because Fluster's not good enough. And then I sneak the Hull Breacher under it because you can't Fluster a Hull Breacher. If they have another Force or a Plow, they still win. But that would have been a better way. I think I got greedy pushing, trying to just steal any little drip of value off this Coatl when I know they have the Undoing combo. Yeah, I think I got a little antsy there and just kind of let them control the pace of the game when I didn't need to do that. Lessons learned. On to the next one.
You come here to level up at Magic. To level up as a software engineer, check out the new YouTube series Dev Better, hosted by the founder of 7-Factor Software and Magic player, Jeremy Duvall. 7-Factor's small teams of high-performing engineers build custom mobile apps, APIs, and highly scalable systems for Fortune 500 companies and ambitious startups with great ideas. If you'd like to hire 7-Factor, or maybe join their team, contact them through their website at 7factor.io. And don't forget to subscribe to 7-Factor's YouTube for every episode of Dev Better.
On the draw for round 2, I'm going to keep this hand with lands and spells and Brainstorm. City of Traders. Oh god. 2 Lotus Petals. Are we just taking the initiative on turn 1? Sure looks like it. Cool. Did you come here to watch Magic get played? Because that's not happening. And I can Swords to Plowshares this Caves of Chaos Adventurer. This isn't a death sentence yet. Taking the initiative at some point will be a problem. Okay, now I have the very real question of, am I going to respect Blood Moon out of this opponent? I think the answer is no. I'm just going to play Tundra and pass. 100 lets me plow this turn and brainstorm on my turn, which is what I want to do. I hope they go into Forge, get super greedy here, let me stick them down the aggressive path without a creature. Did go down the Forge. I'm going to plow now before they gain 2 extra life off of this. Okay, what's the follow-up? And please don't say Blood Moon. They lose their city if they make this land drop. Fable of the Mirror Breaker, okay. Mystic Sanctuary, among the worst draws imaginable right now. Prismatic Ending and Ponder are both good. I don't need Mystic Sanctuary or Mountain in the mix right now. I'm gonna fetch basic Plains and Prismatic Ending this Goblin token. If I can stick them on one land and the only real action they've got going on is the initiative, maybe that's a way out of this. Unfortunately, I can't get Narset down before this Fable pops. They're gonna get to do their Rummage 2 right now. Narset will be down in time to stuff the archive. That's cool. Discarded Winota and Plateau. You're a Winota strategy. Okay. The Ancient Tomb Go was the line. Teferi is good next turn. Basic Island Narset is the line right now, though. Narset, get in there. That'll stop the archive from doing anything helpful. Prismatic Ending can clear the Fable next turn. I think I want Prismatic Ending, actually. It just solves more problems than Narset does. They go into the archive, they do not draw a card. I guess they do draw a card, but then they don't draw for their draw step, technically speaking. Lotus Petal, okay, they could play another Initiative Idiot this turn and go straight into the Throne of the Dead 3. I do have 2 Supreme Verdicts in this list. And Wandering Emperor is face up right now. 6 mana available. 2 cards in their hand. This is looking like a Caves of Chaos adventure. Okay. So they get this, they go into the Throne. You get to see all manner of horrific things here. Blood Boil Sorcerer, that's another initiative thing. Another Caves of Chaos adventure. That's almost certainly the take. That sends you back to the top of the initiative, then you can cast multiple free spells next turn. Okay, they went with Rabble Master to pressure Narset or me? Pressuring Narset. Alright, I am definitely going to delete her, looking for Supreme Verdict. There's no other path through this. Force of Will, right on time, you asshole. Okay. Narset, find me Supreme Verdict. I found a Ponder and another Narset. I'll take the Ponder, I guess. None of this is good, though. I can't let Caves of Chaos Adventurer be in play next turn. They get to cast a spell for totally free, and they can copy it with Reflection. I gotta stop some amount of this from happening. I'll start with Ponder, as all the best cards, or all the best turns do. They dress down, I still take more than lethal damage. Even if their creatures don't have abilities, I still lose. So, shuffle this. Prismatic Vista, cool. Ponder, let's try this again. Prismatic Ending does not help. Shuffle. I need Swords to Plowshares, and that's not it either. Alright, good game. We almost made a fight out of this after a turn 1 initiative creature went unanswered. A Hydroblast. Knowing they're the Winota build, Containment Priest is relevant. I don't think I want Meltdown for this deck. Is Force of Negation good? Like, if they have some Trinisphere kind of stuff, that's annoying. Chalice of the Void, somewhat disruptive, but I think Force of Negation misses the important things, which are all their creatures. Dress Down's great. Hullbreacher is fine because it gives me momentum towards my combo. I think Teferi kind of sucks, though. This is what I'm going to do. A Hydroblast and then not much follow-up is what I've got here. Hydroblast is a cool tool. It's not going to help me if they lead on Chalice. Hullbreacher doesn't do a lot in the matchup. These are like all the creatures that I have. I'm going to try this on the strength of Hydroblast, and maybe I lose, maybe I win. We'll find out. Sequencing my lands is going to be really interesting because if they start on Blood Moon, I would like to fetch basic plains and ignore that. But if I want to fetch basic island this turn, Flooded Strand is my only way to get basic plains in my hand. Okay, we've got a City of Traders Lotus Petal situation. And Chalice of the Void. Fuck my life. Sometimes you just hope your opponent doesn't have one exact specific thing, but they do. Hopefully my opponent is not ready for Supreme Verdict, though. I'm going to play another land that can be a basic if it needs to be. If they go Rabble Master this turn, Winota next turn, I'm in trouble. But I guess Supreme Verdict could help mop that up, depending on how hard Winota hits. And they did lead on City of Traders again, though. That is something of a liability. If they Blood Moon here, Supreme Verdict is really hard to get to because they have to draw one of the other basic planes in my deck. Okay, we've got the city committed, and there is a War Boss in the mix. Hullbreacher can block one of the tokens next turn, or I can risk it for the biscuit and just take whatever happens into Supreme Verdict. Okay, Hullbreacher is available to tangle in combat if that makes sense, or I can slam Supreme Verdict on the following turn. They had 4 mana and lit on a 3-drop. Evernon Warrior. Is Winota a warrior? Or is this Rabble Master? Caves of Chaos Adventurer is almost certainly a warrior. Just hoping for some random 3-drop. Do they have a Spirit Guide? Layla. Oh yeah, you are a warrior. That's fun. Sure. Layla resolves. That's another thing that gets swept up in Supreme Verdict next turn. So I'm currently taking 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And they flip to Winota, who is not going to get cast this turn. I think I take 8 rather than block here. Supreme Verdict everything. Don't play my Hullbreacher because it's just going to die anyway. Fetch basic planes and Tundra. Get this board stable. 9 life's not a lot. I hope their mana kind of falls out from under them now. They've used Lotus Petal and City of Traders already to get where they are. Now we just have another warrior right on time. Layla flips Simian Spirit Guide. That doesn't work how they would like it to. Layla is now lethal next turn. I need Prismatic Ending. Force of Will. You dick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. I am playing a 4/4 Murktide Regent to trade with this 4/4 Layla right now. And that's the end of the road. Please don't cast an uncounterable Winota right now. I just looked up Winota, confirmed she is a warrior. Layla's attacking, revealing, Goblin Rabble Master, also a warrior. Nice Force of Will. Will block though. At least this Rabble Master is second main. And who put so many warriors into Magic the Gathering? Dungeons and Dragons, just eroding my confidence. Okay, Prismatic Ending. We're back to life, team. Ending the Chalice, which lets me cast Ponder and perhaps get free of my coils here. Is Brainstorm better? Because I would like to hit a land, but I don't really count on Force of Will at this point. I think Ponder is better now, because I can kill Rabble Master if they Winota, then they just don't have any attackers. I'm going to Ponder. 2 Narsets and Teferi. These are not cards that help me right now. Another Force of Will. That's normally a really good card in this matchup, but I am under the oppressive yoke of Cavern of Souls. Hydroblast before combat. City of Traders, and we are still in first main because I had to do this before combat. They have a different haste creature. They are casting a warrior, it seems. Caves of Chaos Adventure is a pretty good warrior. Oh, you're a barbarian. That seems like an oversight, Watsy. Get out of here. Force pitching force. Why is this a barbarian? We're in the party filling age of Magic. But, I mean, I'm not mad. Cool. I don't think I'm brainstorming now. My plan is to play Hullbreacher and probably Swords of Plowshare or something this turn. If they take the initiative this turn, like if they have another Caves of Chaos Adventure, I'm going to let it resolve, plow it, and then connect with Hullbreacher. This one's a warrior. I see you now. Okay. That resolves. My plan is still my plan. They get to search for stuff, and I take the initiative. I hope. They play their mountain, they lose their City of Traders. Okay. They do have red up. mildly concerning. That could be Pyroblast, which is a non-bow with Chalice, but if you have Chalice, you probably don't need Pyroblast. See if I can get the initiative here. That would be nice. Oh yes, I am the initiative. So, enter the Undercity. I can Brainstorm and get a Shuffle now. I'm going to try that. I Counterspell and Dress Down. I don't need this land, and I'm going to send this Plow away. Okay, cool. I got a Shuffle. I'd like another Island. Okay, cool. Now I can Dress Down a creature that is a problem through Cavern, and I can Counterspell anything else. And I can do both in the same turn if necessary. And Days Undoing at any point is just the eject button. Oh, another Cavern. This one's on Human. I expect a Caves of Chaos Adventurer here, who will be dressed down. So the initiative is not taken on arrival. Still have a big trample creature. I am going to Lost Well with my initiative. I am just searching wildly for Days Undoing at this point. 2 of them in the deck. Let's find them. Oh, it's right on top. That's easy. Bottom top. I should probably Brainstorm, see if I hit a Swords to Plowshares to answer this big trample creature first. Brainstorm also puts Counterspell back on top of my deck. Ooh, Teferi. Wandering Emperor is even better. So I'm going to put Counterspell, Wandering Emperor. Oh no, my deck shuffles, doesn't it? Yeah, you shuffle your everything. All right, so that doesn't matter. I did not find the clean answer that I was looking for, so I will just Days Undoing with Force Backup, which will end the turn. They could take the initiative if I don't find an answer, and I did find Plow and Dress Down. Good news, everybody. Opponent's got 1 card in their hand, and they're tapping Magic through Cavern of Souls. Of course they are. Another Caves of Chaos Adventure. Okay. Going to Dress Down. Blue. Colorless. Dress Down. This is great because it takes Trample off the other one, so I can just trade Hull Breacher for it and save my Plow for this one. I could also just Plow twice, but now I'm ready for the next creature as well. I'm just going to block. Get to go into the stash. Get yet another treasure here. Magic Ending, Swords to Plowshares, Brainstorm. This is a lot of gas here. Start with a Brainstorm. Prismatic Vista and Prismatic Ending. Go away. Gonna land. Fetch. Trying to get a respectable Murktide Regent in the mix here. Ponder. There's a Narset and a Dress Down. I would like Dress Down. I feel like them taking the initiative through resolving a spell is the best path for them out of this game. Brainstorm will make Murktide Regent 5/5. Do I even need that? Because I'm going to Plow this thing anyway. I will Brainstorm as well. Keep it coming. Back Scalding Tarn and 1 of the Plows. And I can just Plow now because this is happening anyway. Make myself the biggest Murktide I can. Then Murktide. Cool. I could Narset now. Yeah, why not? Just trying to bury my opponent while the getting's good. I know there's a Plow on top at the very least. I'll take that. I can Dress Down things with scary ETB text and Plow anything else. They also presumably have some number of lands in their deck, and maybe they'll draw one at some point instead of just non-stop spells. Okay, we did it. Chalice of the Void confirmed. That did slow me down and make the game kind of annoying. Teferi is an answer to Chalice that's not in my deck. Meltdown's an answer to Chalice that's not in my deck. Meltdown can mess up my treasures if I have any of those going on. Meltdown can also go Chrome Moxes and Lotus Petals before they're used effectively. I really don't want to force a negation to Chalice. Teferi is a pretty bad answer to Chalice, though, in this matchup. If I bring in 1 Meltdown, where does that fit in the deck? Do I even have room for that? Don't think so. I would be replacing another Teferi with it. Teferi is pretty bad in the matchup, though. Okay. -1, 3 mana bad answer to Chalice. +1, 2 mana good answer to Chalice. Yeah, I guess this is a step in the right direction. This meltdown could be embarrassing in situations where I need a relevant card and that's not it. But it could also break me out of game I'm losing. I'm going to keep this hand with a straight line to the combo with Force Backup. Lotus Petal, Tomb. I am not going to force this. It does mess with my Ponder that I was hoping to cast, but now I have something easy to pitch to force. I really just need a third land to get Hull Breacher down, and this game is doing what I want it to. Yeah, knowing they're a Cavern deck, I shouldn't be respecting Blood Moon at all. This Cavern is so important right now. I hope this is Winota. Of course it's not. Yep, here's this jerk, uncounterable. And now the real race is on. Another Force of Will, a card that normally I'm happy to see. Medic Ending. I am just taking the max here. I think they're just going to Goldfish me. Even if I draw the land this turn, they attack for 7 now, then they're in the trap next turn, and then they attack for another 7, and I have no meaningful interaction for that. Yep, here's the Caves of Chaos Adventurer, flip City of Traders that they can play this turn. Or is it play or cast? You may play. Okay, so they can play City of Traders. They didn't. Wow. All right, yep, we're dead. This double Force of Will hand completely collapsed by Cavern of Souls. And if I draw, yeah, I had the land, so I have the turn 4 Goldfish backed by double Force, but they have Cavern of Souls, making my forces irrelevant. GG. I almost wish they just played Trinisphere or some other shit, but completely crushed by the Cavern tech. GG's. The Command Tower software by Eminence Gaming is perfect for hosting Commander events. It features easy-to-create event registration for 4-player Swiss-structured tournaments. Event management has never been so simple, and it's web-based, so there's no downloads required. You can get access for just $5 at eminence.events/subscribe. I'm on the play for round 3. Let's try to rally here, get the back half of the league. I'm going to keep this Island Ponder situation. Got Force of Will, Brainstorm, Ponder. A lot of action here. Narset and Hull Breacher are nice. Hopper, if we hit our next 2 land drops on time. I basically just want to see 2 lands in this Ponder, and I'll be pretty happy with that situation. And there they are. Okay, I'll draw Tundra last. I guess I draw them both at the same time, but I'll lead on Volcanic Island, because I care about that one less. Flooded Strand. Go. Okay. I drop Volcanic Island and send it here. What I don't really want to happen is get Wastelanded. Okay, that's not going to happen. This could be a mirror match. I don't want to shove Narset into all this open mana and options, but Hull Breacher in the end step, untap, shove Narset, force backup for the whole squad. I'm trying to get Narset into play here, is my real goal. And this is starting to look like some sort of mirror. Hull Breacher in the end step. Getting some movement here. Is this Counterspell? Does appear to be Counterspell. I could force this Counterspell, or I could untap and cast Narset, which was my plan all along. I'm going to do that. Here is my Narset. I even drew the land. That was a great find. Days Undoing is the only card I could take from this Narset. Turns out that's also just a good card to have when you have Narset. They got to get over the hump with a Force of Will here. Your own Narset, force pitching Brainstorm. I think I pitched Counterspell so I could Brainstorm and take another look if they have a Force too. All right, yeah, they're just good. Okay, we show and tell first in the show and tell mirror. I think Pyroblast is the only thing I'm bringing in. Dress Down can leave. I like Force of Negation because we're going to have a Planeswalker fight. Oh, actually, Supreme Verdict is worse than Dress Down. Oh, I have to cut 4 cards. That's perfect. Swords to Plowshares. If this is the pure mirror, they're going to have literally Hull Breacher and Murktide Regent to target with Plow. I'm going to bring my Dress Down and a Flusterstorm back. Yeah, I guess this is what this looks like. I could bring in my Hydroblast to fight their Pyroblast, but that's the only card it fights. It is an important card, though, but it's a blank anywhere else. Maybe it is worth doing. If I cut all my Plows, bring in the Hydroblast, that gives me an edge as we nickel and dime each other trying to keep Planeswalkers in play. And if they resolve their Murktide Regent, I have Pyroblast for that, so Plows just become Pyroblast in that regard. Yeah, I guess this makes sense. I will keep this hand. No Pyroblast, but it does have Ponder and Force. Looks like my opponent's also starting with a Ponder. Confirmed Ponder. Goes to Shuffle. Okay. I am something of a Ponder myself. Days Undoing. I think I shuffle this. Days Undoing isn't good until I have one of the threes. Either Hullbreacher or Narset. And there we go. I would rather have Hullbreacher as a standalone than Days Undoing. That's something I talked about in the deck tech. That your A's in this AB deck play on their own, but your B doesn't. You have a land drop. Disappointing. And a Ponder. Leaving up white. They could have pondered first and possibly had a fetch to shuffle up the Ponder, but left up white. Goes not to shuffle. Okay. I'm going to play this fetch land and give myself the option to brainstorm. If they put Narset on the stack, I'll brainstorm in response to that. Teferi, same deal. Now I can't really brainstorm because they're representing Hullbreacher. And I'll just pass the turn back and forth here. I'm still hitting land drops. I don't need to panic yet. Containment Priest. Okay. So they're on a strategy of just playing any old thing and going beat down against me. That's kind of cool, I guess. Put back one of these endings and I'll leave myself options for Murktide Regent. Maybe I'm a ways away from that. Alright, I'll just put Murktide back in the deck somewhere. I can answer this Containment Priest cleanly. I have a counterspell and force if they go for a 3-drop here. This is an interesting way to take the matchup. Just anything that can pressure a Planeswalker, even if it doesn't make a lot of sense. Me brainstorming in the end step means I can't Hull Breach this brainstorm. But they left up white on that previous turn when they could have done something different. Fetch for some white myself. I'll just end this thing. It's gone. Cool. I have another brainstorm if they go for Hull Breacher. Well, maybe I just counterspell that. Yeah, I'll counterspell if they go for Hull Breacher. And we just passed into their turn. You seem to be missing a land drop, which I am also in danger of doing. If I hit this one, though, okay. Flusterstorm's cool. Is it helpful? Is it good? I could brainstorm, counterspell, and Flusterstorm. Make sure I win a fight over a Hull Breacher. I know they have 6 spells in their hand, but I have 7 in mine. I am just going to play Draw Go for this turn cycle. Give them a chance to panic first. Wandering Emperor. This is something, and I'm probably going to counterspell this, but I'll brainstorm first. There's a Days Undoing. There's land number 5. The Undoing is not bad. Dress Down's just kind of blue material to pitch to force, which I don't hate. I'm going to put Days Undoing under this mountain on top of my deck. And I'm going to counterspell the Wandering Emperor. If they force here, I can fluster back. Then they get an open turn with me tapped out. That's fine. Mystic Sanctuary can get back something here, but there's nothing I actually want. I'll just get a Tundra. Fluster this force. I did just shuffle away the Days Undoing and the land on top of my deck. They're going to get an open shot with me tapped out, but they just pitched their counterspell to force. Well, it's now or never on this. Force pitching Dress Down. Okay, we're both down to 3 cards in hand, but I'm about to resolve Narset. Let's go. Brainstorm in response. Yep. Now is the time to do that. They have to find Force blue card here, or else they're under Narset. And I left up red. They have to be thinking about Pyroblast, which might lead to weird decisions, but this might just be so bad you have to force it if you have it. And now I have the choice to brainstorm looking for a Force of Will, and I blatantly don't have Pyroblast here. I would use it. I am going to brainstorm. Okay, there's Pyroblast. If I put back Oh, but I can't cast this Pyroblast. This land doesn't fetch any red sources in my deck. So if I put back Hydroblast and Hull Breacher, okay, my Narset's countered. At least got a 2-for-1. And next turn I can Pyroblast. You get a Narset here. I'll clear that next turn, I hope. On a Brainstorm. I did put Hull Breacher on top. I think I want to just Pyroblast their Narset. And if I can walk them into Brainstorming in response, then we get the giant blowout of the Century. I get to eat their Brainstorm and then also cast my Narset. Nom 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 nom. Yeah, okay, cool. That one worked out well. We just slammed our 3s back and forth, and the person who had to pitch cards to Force of Will and Force of Negation ended up losing to the person who was able to cast Pyroblast, Flusterstorm, and Counterspell 1-for-1. And that's just how this works. We're on the board, let's go. We're a few rounds into the video. Thanks for sticking with me. Friendly reminder that if you're still here and having fun, smash that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, you can use my affiliate link for TCG Player to support the channel while you shop for cards, and you can try any deck anytime with a cardhoarder.com loan account for Magic Online. All these links are in the video description below. Now back to the league. I'm on the play in round 3. No Ponder here. I am going to keep the hand though. This hand's really good at shoving Narset on the stack. Just going to land go here. And hope they're on a creature deck. Scalding Tarn, that doesn't cast creatures. It's not allowed. Literally illegal in the game rules. Okay, I could play this Plains, which is probably part of my plan anyway. I guess if they spend effort wastelanding me, that's a turn they're not doing anything. And now I'm still representing Counterspell. They didn't do anything turn 1. Oh no, another mirror. Card for card mirror. Oh, nope, it's not a card for card mirror. Staff of the Storyteller situation. I might have to plow the Spirit. That's so annoying, but I think it is where we are as a society. Because my plan is to jam Narset this turn, and even 1 damage on Narset changes the entire progression of how that card works. Oh, hello. Now I'm definitely jamming Narset. Not that I was lining myself up to do anything else, but now I have the Undoing in hand. Narset slows down Staff as well. They can only activate it on my turn and only 1. Force pitching Brainstorm. You got it. Second Narset's going to have to carry this one. Main phase, draw a card. You got an emergency situation over there. The second Staff would charge up the first one. Okay, here it is. Telling some stories. I got a lot more Staff decks coming down the pipe. Don't worry. They're on their way. Okay, I could Ponder first, look for some interaction. I think that's what I want to do. If I find Force of Will here, that makes my life a lot easier. Ponder, Plow, Supreme Verdict. I'm going to shuffle these. Shuffle my library and find a third Narset. Let's go. Ram these onto the stack till one of them works. Have to get Island here. Narset's on the stack. And they have another Force pitching their own Narset. That's scary. They do have quite the card advantage engine online. Their Forces can keep up if my Narsets don't get through. If I draw a land, I can Murktide and Narset. That would be interesting. Okay, I did draw the land. I'm going to start with Murktide. See if they want to ask me any questions about this. If they play a counterspell. It's at least a blocker. Alright, third Narset. Murktide went through. That could just mean they have Plow in their hand. And not actually tell me anything. Uh-oh, we're fetching in response. Jamming the Wandering Emperor in response. Okay. So Emperor can make a 2/2, which if they kill Murktide, kills Narset. So I think I just don't activate her. I'm just going to pass. Put my 5/5 in front of their 2/2 and 1/1. The stabs don't work as long as Narset's in play. They got 1 card left in their hand, plus a mystery draw right now because they just shuffled. So Plowshares makes perfect sense. Why I didn't minus? Okay, they're empty over there. They can draw 1 card on my turn, but if they draw a card trying to fight Days Undoing, then they get no cards off of Days Undoing. Probably better just to let it resolve. Oh, they forgot to activate Wandering Emperor. Awkward. Okay, I'm going to shove Days Undoing. Splat. I get a fresh 7. They get to... Oh. If they don't draw a counterspell, they actually just lost a card, not gain one. Okay, cool. Hullbreacher is in the mix now. I'm going to lose Narset, but that might actually work out in my favor. Because they attack Narset, and then they try to activate Staff, and I get a treasure. My Murktide's in exile. I'm almost out of win conditions, actually. It's so tempting. I might need the Supreme Verdict to stabilize this board, but also Hullbreacher just blows them out. If I give them too many draws... Alright, I'm going to give them this draw. I think I have to Supreme Verdict this board. They got 2 cards left in their hand. I can Supreme Verdict and play Hullbreacher next turn. I hope they play a Planeswalker that I can force a negation now. That would line everything up nice and smooth. Oh, whoa, that's even better. Okay, I'll just play Hullbreacher in response to that. Walked him into the biggest blowout. And I can force of negation a Plow, if that's the last card in their hand. Oh, they tried so hard and got so far. But I just drew 7. Spin this handful of lands back into something good. Okay, alright. That was almost dicey. The stabs stay in play after Days Undoing. They had real creature presence. That was tight. Okay, so we're playing against a Narset Days Undoing build of Staff of the Storyteller. What do we do with that information? Dress Down probably doesn't do much. Pyroblast is a card I want all 4 of. This is a deck I might have to Supreme Verdict against. Counterspell's good. Plow's a little awkward, because most of their creatures are going to be pooped out for free from some other effect. Meltdown can clear the stabs, but so does Prismatic Ending. Teferi's not a good answer for Staff. Okay, I'm going down to 2 Plows. Do I want Flusterstorm in? We've seen Days Undoing, we've seen Counterspells. Yeah, I think I'm just going to try to execute my combo and resolve a Hullbreacher and Narset as early as possible, and that's my plan for this matchup. This triple Narset hand. It worked last time. Let's do it again. Just going to land go. Drawing the Plow is cool. I could make the same line I made last game. Just Plow a Spirit Token. Okay, if they don't have that, that's even better for me. There's a Brainstorm coming. I think I want to do it on the upkeep before they have 3 mana. I don't expect Hullbreacher from them, but if they're going to Pyroblast, I want it to hurt. Cool. Hullbreacher's in my hand, along with a triple Narset. Okay, I don't think Supreme Verdict is going to be part of this plan at the moment. And I'll float the 3rd Narset on top of the deck. I can draw her if I need her, but that's a lot of that effect. So they are also showing Red Blast. There's a Staff. Dude, I'm not going to fight this. That's what Narset's for. If I fetch Plains, I get to operate on curve, but that also means I don't have access to red, but I think I have to take that. Fetch basic Plains. Once again, Plow this idiot. Feels bad, but I'm doing it. Narset will save me. They have to have double force in their hand to stop Narset right now. Force pitching Narset, force pitching Ponder. They've shown me they're a Narset deck, so I'm going to pitch Ponder in case we end up in a Narset battle. Okay, they do have double force. Force pitching Narset, then force pitching force. Okay. My hand is full of Hullbreachers and Narsets. They do have their Staff, and they're untapping into red mana, if that matters. And they missed a land drop. Cool. Would love to draw a source of blue mana. Shit. Okay. The Staff doesn't matter until they charge it. Just running Narset into Red Blast feels bad here. Hullbreacher can at least operate at instant speed. Alright. I'll go for the old Hullbreacher, untap Narset line. And step Hullbreacher. They once again drew their card and passed. They have 4 spells in their hand. Source of Plowshares was always going to work. Give myself another shot at a blue source to resolve Narset. No luck there. I'll try this Brainstorm. Okay. Another Narset. Flusterstorm will work next turn. So if I put back Narset and Flusterstorm in that order, it's going to be really hard to hold up Force of Negation, but I don't know that I need to. I'll put back Narset and Fluster, and Prismatic Ending the Staff. Cut their engine out from under them. And I can Force of Negation if I really need to survive this turn, but I can jam Narset with Fluster Protection next turn. Did find land number 4, Wandering Emperor's live. Okay, Narset, go. So drawing that land, Fluster doesn't even save me here. 2, 3, yeah, they'd have to pay 3, which they do easily have. Bummer, that was a bad turn for them to draw land. Good thing I have another Narset on top of my deck. Ponder, you got it. He did not shuffle and then did not play a card. This time, Red Blast does not beat Narset. Let's try this again. We're in there. Activate. Found a Pyroblast that I cannot currently cast. He didn't cycle a Shark Typhoon or play a Hull Breach or anything. 5 mana now. And they're making moves. Prismatic Ending does line up correctly with Flusterstorm. That land drop. Save them. I am going to force this Prismatic Ending. Narset will recoup this if it works. And now I'm threatening the GG button. Let's see, at least 5 cards this turn. Uh-oh. Counterspell and a third Pyroblast. I'll take the Counterspell. Okay, I am... If I find a red source, I'm not in much danger. But my hand is not super functional right now. They're using Ponder just to look at their top 3 cards. They don't get to draw. And they did not shuffle the library, so whatever they kept on top will either answer or play through Narset well enough. Ugh. All these red blasts, nowhere to go. And they've seen the counterspell, so whatever they're planning, they know it's going to work. I will counterspell the staff. This card kills Narset and does other stuff. Are they going to get me with a double spell, or was that just good enough to play as Duress and take the counter? My own Brainstorm. Okay, I'm going to hope that they don't have Hull Breacher. I think they would have played that card by now if they had it. Yeah, okay, good read. Prismatic Ending and Force of Will, or Prismatic Ending and Pyroblast, or Pyroblast Prismatic Ending. Pyroblast Prismatic Ending. Found the red, unlocked the Pyroblast, and I can Force of Will. Or I can Force of Will, not both. Next turn I can do both. I know I'm not moving the game forward over the next 2 turns, but I do have a good wall of not dying up in the meantime. I know about this Pyroblast, so I will use it. I don't know about the second Pyroblast or the Force of Will. There's red in the pool. Can't Pyroblast a Pyroblast. You can Blue Blast a Pyroblast. Okay, so they did actually work through the known cards extremely well. If I had Force there, they would have been sitting on Blue Blast. Narset found Savine's Wreck. Jesus. Okay. Weird mode activated. Prismatic Ending can clear the Narset, but Savine's Wreck, what's that good for? Staff of the Storyteller? I mean, that's good enough for me to be worried about it. I could just leave them with Narset in play until I draw my Force next turn. But they can flashback Savine's Wreck. Wow, this is going to kill me. Do I want to try to survive a second Narset activation or just clear the face-up thing that I know about? I guess Prismatic Ending beats Savine's Wreck here. Kind of. And not in a way I'm happy about, but Savining up Staff of the Storyteller. I can either answer the 1/1 or the staff itself. Teferi, come on. Oh, we're friends. And this Teferi is barely worth forcing because they can just Savine's it back. Guess I'll do it though. This is not getting better. In fact, it's getting worse. It's falling apart quickly. Yeah, so they have the Savine's here. They can get back Teferi or Staff. I think Staff is actually better than Teferi right now. Like Teferi minus doesn't draw a card. If I Pyroblast, then the Teferi will still be in the graveyard. Do I care about Teferi? Okay, I'm going to Prismatic Ending Teferi. Or am I more worried about Narset? I think I'm more worried about Narset. Yes, I am more worried about Narset here. That unlocks all my Days Undoing, my cantrips. They can Savine's Wreck back a land and a staff this turn. They could even get back staff. Oh no, because Narset's in play. I was gonna say they could get back staff, draw a card, bounce staff, replay staff, and draw a million cards, but you actually can't because Narset's in play. That's how we drew it up. Savine's Wreck is a hammer in these mirrors, though. Staff the Storyteller's back. And the only other permanent to be targeted is a land. I already got a lot of those. They do get to draw an extra card on my turn with staff. I'm in the market for a Day's Undoing right now. Really, any cantrip, anything that keeps the party going would be fine with me. That's not it. Pyroblast your Teferi. Might as well do that now, before it can do the play that I described last turn. Okay, they're drawing a card with staff in response. This is the draw they get for the turn. Oh wow, they actually spiked. They had either force or blue card, and then drew the other half. Okay. I guess I'll play this island. It's not really helping now, and I'm going to lose Narset, and then they can go off with Teferi, draw a million cards. This game's not over yet, because I can, at any point, from the top row, just Narset, dig, find Day's Undoing, cast it. Should bounce their own staff here. That's what I would do. They have a Brainstorm. They have a Narset. Oh god. I might just get my day undone. Actually, that's fine, because I actually end up +1 card. And they end up +7. Oh, they have Force now that they can cast. Sure. They did bounce their own staff. Do they want to risk it? Okay, they did replace staff rather than leave up 3 mana for Force. Okay, they found the land. If they even have a fetchable left. Alright. Narset. Teferi. Not helpful. Okay. This game's over. Savine's Wreck, Mirror Breaker. Wow. Do I bring in Rest in Peace just for Savine's Wreck? That card is actually that good. They had their blue blast in for my red blast. That's interesting. I don't think I have that many cuts. They also had Dress Down in. We saw that one. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna try to. I'll cut Plow for Hydroblast and then a Supreme Verdict for Hydroblast. On the play, I'm just gonna try to shove my Show and Tell plan. Okay, on the play, I will keep this Ponder hand with an Narset and try to sculpt the perfects and make this happen. I don't need a second Hydroblast. I am interested in Teferi and land. Ponder from the opponent as well. Hydroblast number 2 is Force of Negation fodder number 1. I'll play the fetch land this turn, and then I can make a decision if I want to draw the other Hydroblast or not, depending on what they do here. I do not want Hydroblast if they're not doing anything. Do I think they'd be crazy enough to Blood Moon me? I'm just going to hope not, because I can't fetch basic planes with this, and I don't need another island. Basic planes can be found off of this one. I think I'm just going to leave up Force of Negation for a turn. If I start tapping out and getting reckless and let them Pyroblast where I have to force, we saw last round what that looks like in the Jeskai mirror. Person who's getting 1-for-1s versus the person who has to 2-for-1 every play. It's a bad deal. As long as I'm hitting land drops, I'm moving things forward. Don't have Hull Breacher, I'm just going to let them Brainstorm. Next turn, I can play Teferi with Pyro and Hydro protection. And I can hardcast Force of Negation this turn if I want to. I hope they do like anything on their turn. Just something that commits some mana to the board somehow. I will Force of Negation a staff here. They are fetching for 3 different colors. And they have a Teferi. I'm going to fetch basic planes and start with a Force of Negation. This leaves up Pyro and Hydro if they fight back on a 1-for-1. Force of Will. I'm going to Pyroblast their Force of Will. Because if I win the fight over Force of Will, then Force of Negation exiles Teferi, and it's better in exile because I know they have Savine's Wreck. If they have Blue Blast or Flusterstorm or another force here, they'll win the fight, but then I shove Narset and keep moving forward. They are cracking something here. I hope this is a Brainstorm to dig and not just the answer from hand. Volcanic Island could be anything. Red mana, they're pyroblasting, my force of negation. Okay, so you will end up with Teferi here. Really interesting that they forced first rather than pyroblasting. Days Undoing is right there. Okay. I think I want to lead on Narset. Here she is. Didn't have another force blue card. I'd love to find another Pyroblast. Such luck, I did find another Narset. But Teferi is a scary permanent. But they have to answer my Narset before they can Days Undoing. They know I have a backup. Land number 6 gives me the eject button. Finding their own Narset would be annoying. Yep, there's yours. Now Days Undoing is not a good idea. They found Shark Typhoon. That's a card you have that I don't. Another Mirror Breaker. Their deck is better built for this mirror match than mine is. Another Undoing. I'm no longer even excited about the first one. Hydroblast, Wandering Emperor. All of this stuff is bad. I guess I just have to get the Wandering Emperor and try to put some material on the board. There you are. Make a 2/2 White Samurai. And pass a turn. Narset activation. They found their Pyroblast. They can kill my Narset now. Do they have the Days Undoing to go with it? If so, is my Wandering Emperor enough to make this game work? Staff the Storyteller makes this a lot harder. Could just try to mutually assure destruction. If I draw a land, I could play Narset, let it get Red Blast, and then spin us both to hell. They can make a 2/2 Shark right now. I did draw land number 6. So I can plus and make sure I beat the Shark in combat. Or I can attack, trade with the Shark, minus. That doesn't do anything. I'm going to plus. And attack Narset. Attack Narset. Took their block. Second main. Go for a Teferi, and then spin us both to hell. If they counter the Teferi, that lets me stick the new Narset. Maybe. Because we don't actually know what's under there. Red Blast. And second Narset. Mystic Sanctuary is good for a Pyroblast here. That card is relevant to me and my interests. Mystic Sanctuary, target Pyroblast. Play Narset. No fear of tapping out. Teferi's already beating me on that front. Oh, they have a second red blast. Okay. Down to 2 cards. One of them is Shark Typhoon, which no longer does what they want, but they can draw with staff now, and Narset has not met her condition. Teferi is plussing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They can make a 5/5 Shark. That's so big. Here's the Pyroblast that I knew about. I'm going to blast their Narset and then try to jam, or do I attack first? I think I attack Narset first, get them to commit a bunch of mana. Attack Narset. They have to commit at least 5 mana to this, and it'll draw a card, turning off Narset for the turn. Or turning on Narset for the turn, however you want to look at that. It charges the staff, but they can't use that right now. They're leaving up red very deliberately here. They just fetch twice rather than tap their 2 red lands. So I should expect a Pyroblast from them. And they get a 4/4 Shark, big enough to tangle with Samurai. I could have plussed first to force them to tap all the way out and lose their Shark for no reason. Maybe that's better. For some reason I was thinking that having a second creature would be more useful. I don't even know if that's true. Yeah, I definitely should have plussed pre-combat. That's questionable. Pyroblast, you are Narset. Blue Blast, come on with these. They're so good in exactly this one spot. Okay, we would both end up Hellbent if I Days Undoing right now. Who does that favor? I mean, they can kill my Narset, but I don't have a good shot at theirs. And my hand sucks. Mutually assured destruction, let's go. Yeah, they're ahead here. My hand just doesn't do anything, so I'm going to try to mess them up too. And this is the last chance my hand will have to even do anything. They attack Narset with Shark, then minus on Samurai, and then activate Staff. It would be really hard for them to lose this game. And I fought over this Teferi. This Teferi has been basically everything this game. They had Teferi, I didn't. I put everything I could into this Teferi, and they had double protection. And then the whole game just spiraled out from there. Yeah, I absolutely should have plussed on this Samurai, or the Samurai last turn, make a 4/4 first strike. That way, at least they don't have this 4/4 Shark dominating. They would have just cycled for 1 to chump block. And then we make the same play, but I have the board and they don't. Yeah. And now all their engines are online and mine aren't. Bouncing my Samurai. Handful of cards. Ponders. Now they get to do stuff. Another Narset. Good news is, if they Days Undoing here, I don't even care that much. Okay, Force of Will is in their hand. I'm just gonna throw my Emperor in the trash, because she's gonna die anyway. And let's play From Behind Terrible Magic against Force of Will and Active Planeswalkers. But they have 4.5 minutes on their clock to my 8.5. That's the win con now. Narset found Brainstorm, plus Teferi, Ponder, Narset, Gideon, ally of Zendikar. Yikes. That will win the game in 3.5 minutes. Plenty of time. Yeah, that failure to plus, if I just had a 4/4 in play to their nothing after the mutual Days Undoing, then my Narset's still in play. There's like 5 cards they haven't drawn so far this game. It doesn't spin out like this. Now Staff is just steadily online for the rest of the game. Another Staff. Yeah, this build of the deck with Shark Typhoon, Savine's Reclamation, Gideon, Ally, all of these cards. Break the Mirror, Staff of the Storyteller. I mean, their deck has Days Undoing in it. It's just not the only plan. I will say with some confidence that I don't like the play patterns of this deck that I'm playing. In the deck tech, I outlined the things that are good about it, but the things that are bad about it are pretty bad. And it's that you're basically a show and tell deck, and show and tell sucks. Why would you want to turn your Jeskai control deck, which rules, into a show and tell deck, which sucks? Flusterstorm. All right, I can just concede here. I'm not going to try to do this in 2.5 minutes. It's not going to work anyway. Yeah, this deck, like, I sang the praises of being a show and tell deck that can also be blue-white control, but the truth is you're pretty bad at blue-white control. You're actually just a bunch of removal spells, and then your only reasonable way to win a game is resolving your show and tell combo, versus the other 2 decks I played against, the Bant one and then this Jeskai Mirror that I just played. The Bant one was an Uro deck with other stuff going on, and then also had Narset Days Undoing. Then this Jeskai Mirror we just played, they got Savine's Wreck, they got Shark Typhoon, they got more Planeswalkers. And then they also can just Days Undoing you if you're not ready. They probably have 1 in the deck, and then like a slightly smaller Hull Breacher Narset package. Maybe 3 Narsets. Maybe they have 4, but not the Hull Breacher. But they're just doing other stuff too. They're much better in the non-combo half of the deck. We got 1 more round to play, but these are my thoughts at this point. For the absolute best Magic the Gathering apparel on the market, check out the link in the video description to coalesceapparel.shop, and be sure to use the code BoshNRoll for 10% off when you check out. I'm on the play in the final round. I'm going to keep this Island Ponder situation. I got the less common, but also less good part of my combo. And I have a big sweeper, if they're a creature deck. Let's find out. I do kind of want Teferi. I would like to do something along the way. I don't want to draw another land. I'm actually going to shuffle this. Yeah, Brainstorm is better than that Teferi and anything else that would have come out of it. Good shuffle. Misty Rainforest. Basic Island. Is this our 3rd Jeskai Mirror? 4th Days Undoing Mirror? And this could be anything. Misty Rainforest, it's probably not a Jeskai Mirror. Goes to shuffle. Okay. I'm just going to fetch land go. I can brainstorm when I have more information about what I'm looking for. Brainstorm in the main phase from the opponent with a Scalding Tarn. Touching for basic mountain. We're gonna get main deck pyroblasted on my brainstorm here. Could happen. Okay, there's a Hall Breacher. Don't need 2 Supreme Verdicts, and I don't need basic mountain. Can't stifle me here. Grab this plains. Cool. All basics all day. Now I can present a combo here. A lot of bad news though. Oh, you're show and tell. Cool. Okay, if I put in Hull Breacher, you can't Grizzlebrand. Okay, I'm just gonna let this resolve. The other option is try to cast Hull Breacher, then put a land in. But I'm just gonna put in Hull Breacher. And we're gonna get sneak attacked. Cool. And Grizzlebrand still doesn't work. Emrakul puts me to 3 life and no permanence. Great. Technically still playing this game, but I don't want to. Sneak and show. Okay. Historically horrific matchup for decks like this one, but we are stacked up in the sideboard. We've got 8 cards that definitely come in, and then Surgical Extraction is an option. Supreme Verdict can get out. Prismatic Ending is fine. Dress Down can get out. Swords of Plowshare is not very exciting. I would rather there not be any monsters in play than try to answer the one that's there. There is good. Force is good. Murktide's good. And I'll cut a Prismatic Ending for the Surgical as well. This is my plan. Let's go. On the play, Grip full of Forces and some Planeswalkers. I'll keep this. I do need land number 3 before I'm happy with this. But it's got a pretty good wall of protection up in the meantime. Leading on my Prismatic Vista in case they try to turn 1 Blood Moon me, which is the thing this deck can do. Don't know if it makes sense against this build with so many basics, but it's there. And now we're at the point where land drop next turn is great, brainstorm next turn is great, otherwise we're kind of in the trash. If they were to indulge me with a defense grid right now, that would be great. Make me look smart for leaving Prismatic Ending in, letting me use my mana. I would like that quite a bit. They're just fetch, passing. Okay, land number 3, please. Shit. Ponder. There's land number 3 with another Ponder under it. I could put Ponder in my hand now and have triple force up going into their next turn. And I draw the planes all the same. This is only a punish if they play Blood Moon. Like, I am going to draw the planes, forget it. Get this land drop. Then pass. So now I can ignore Blood Moon. I can Prismatic Ending Blood Moon with what I have. If they have Arcane Artisan or some other juke, I can just ending any of that stuff. I can throw counter spells at a sneak attack. Okay, so sneak attack, land drop used. If I don't force this, I'll have to force Lotus Petal, and if they have Simian Spirit Guide, I get to force nothing. So I'm gonna Force of Will, pitching Force of Negation. I guess I lead on Force of Negation if I'm doing that, because that doesn't cost me life. I have to assume at least 1 layer of fighting back here. A force pitching Atraxa. I'm going to force pitching Teferi. That's answered. And now I'm going to shuffle and play Narset and hope it's good. Because my hand is bad. Narset's in there. And Days Undoing. You're on notice. Go. And they're passing the turn. Land go. Teferi. Okay. I'm going to minus Narset. See if I can find a force. All right, Pyroblast. I could play Teferi, try to be clever about this. I could also just shove Days Undoing. They can hardcast a Force of Will here. Pyroblast is good. I'm going to take the time to Teferi. No action there. I'm going to bounce nothing and draw a card. And I'll pass. And we'll never know if that just gave them the time to assemble the combo or if I played around something. Okay, they are passing the turn currently. And now I can Days Undoing in their draw step with Pyroblast backup. I guess Ottawara messes me up here. Okay, they are just Hellbent. And it's nice that they conceded because we were about to run into the problem that this deck only has 3 ways to win in it, and we didn't actually have one in our hand. Okay, dress down. No, Surge to Plowshare is still not interested. Same deck. Pyroblast, Hydroblast, keep. Gives me a lot to fight over if I get a turn. If they turn 1 show and tell, I guess I put in my fetch land and hope they're on Omniscience. Bone them all to 5. Turn 1 me from here would have to be Ancient Tomb, Lotus Petal, Show and Tell, and Payoff. That's a lot to ask of a 5-card hand. Another Pyroblast. This hand isn't even soft to Blood Moon if they try to cheese me. I think, yeah, I'm gonna Pyroblast this Brainstorm. I've got 2 of them. If I can get aggro, beat them up a little bit. Like, I only have 2 red sources in the deck, so it's not like holding up double Pyroblast is going to be super viable. They got me with the Daze. That sets them back a land, and that would have got me anyway, so flush out a Daze. I'll take it. Blood Moon is currently effective against my hand. My plan was to fetch Basic Island. I guess that was never going to work with Pyroblast. Like, if I fetch Basic Island, then they moon me, Tundra as a mountain, and I can Hydro and Pyro. But as far as just executing the cards in my hand without being assisted by an opponent's hate piece. Okay, I have 3 different pieces of interaction. I can play any 2 of this turn. My opponent did not shuffle their Brainstorm last turn, but they could have. Okay, that changes the information a little bit. Defense Grid, okay. I would like to Brainstorm in response. Really hope I find lands. Cool. Okay. If I put back Prismatic Vista and Plains, that works for me. Rewarded for leaving these endings in my deck. Great blue. Get rid of this grid. They have a 3-card hand. Fluster hits Show and Tell even through a Daze or Force. We're just chilling. I'm fine with that too. I get to play Narset this turn, holding up Blasts or Flusters. Start to assemble the Avengers here. Now I don't care about Blood Moon again. Narset's doing Narset stuff. Choice is Force of Will or Force of Will. I'll take Force of Will. Found land number 3. Is it action time? Show and Tell. How about Flusterstorm? You can't Fluster a sneak attack anyway, and they just saw Force of Will and still shove this thing on the stack. This seems like the way to interact with it. Next turn, I can have the double up ready, maybe triple up. Any blue card gives me a triple up, any land gives me a triple up. Then Narset first. If I spike Daze Undoing, we're just done. Oh, sweet. Well, Teferi's really good too. I'll take Teferi, play that. All the cards I care about in their deck are blue or red. And with Teferi in play, I'm guaranteed to win any counter war. They're thinking now about Force of Will. No love. Cool. Rather than cast Ponder now, I'm just going to leave up the Pyroblast that I planned for. Boseiju is a card that could beat me at this point. Red, red, red in the pool. Simian Spirit Guide is the play. I'm not going to Force of Will this. Prismatic Ending. Rides again. Second Hydroblast. That kills the ape even cleaner. Just going to end it though. Oh, if I end it, I lose my red. That's actually bad. I am holding Force. I'm going to Ponder looking for a land drop. Cool. I found a land drop and a Force. Prismatic Vista, which can be whatever I need it to be. And I can exile this ape at instant speed. No need to go crazy here. Found land number 4. Sneak Attack is live. I strongly prefer Sneak Attack to Show and Tell here. I would rather start using these Hydroblasts. So they attacked Teferi, then backed off and attacked Narset instead. Interesting. So they would rather draw cards if their spells work than have the chance of fighting over their spells. That's what they just showed me. They're still in combat, and they appear to be trying to cast Sneak Attack. Magic Online's tricky sometimes. Okay, now we're in your main phase. Go ahead. Cast your spell. They still know about Force of Will. Here's Hydroblast. Counter target spell if it's red. Blooded Strand, not bad. I'm gonna plus and just hold up for a turn. I have Hydro and Pyroblast plus Force of Will here. And they have to get through a Teferi. The only thing I'd be really excited to brainstorm into is Days Undoing. Pyroblast. How about Hydroblast? Taking a shot at my Teferi, no thanks. 2 cards left in their hand, and their deck requires minimum 2 cards to function. Plus Teferi. Probably should have held on to that Plains as brainstorm fodder. I just sort of clicked that into play without thinking. That's pretty bad. This is the turn I'm going to start digging, because Teferi can minus without deleting. Force Negation's pretty good. Minus Teferi, target nothing. Ponder is better than Brainstorm right now, and there's Days Undoing. Don't shuffle the library. Let's go for a spin. I mean, Days Undoing feels kind of silly here because my hand is already great. I have several layers of counterspells. I'm actually going to pass and plus Teferi, then Days Undoing in their next draw step. End step. Do I want to brainstorm? Does it matter? I'm going to brainstorm. Okay, cool. I found real win conditions now. That's what I was looking for off the brainstorm. If I put back Pyroblast and Force of Negation or Force of Will Pyroblast. Force of Will Pyroblast, go back. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. I would like another land. I will take this opportunity to shuffle. Grab a Tundra. And I drew the land. That lets me Murktide, Hullbreacher, and Days Undoing. With Force backup. Not that I need it. Murktide Regent, Hullbreacher, fetch. And now I can Days Undoing on my turn rather than their draw step. Or no, their draw step. I don't get any treasures. Okay, yeah, they're just conceding. They saw what was happening. Okay. Okay, so this deck, it's a little too far on the show and tell spectrum for me to be happy with. The tournament that this deck won was like a 30-person invite-only thing where you could predict a lot of the field. I don't know that this extreme take on it is where I'd want to be in an open metagame. Like, you're very much playing kind of Azorius Omni Show, except your payoff isn't as lethal, and your deck isn't built as singularly to make it happen. We saw it in this league. 2 of our opponents, 2 of our losses, in fact, they also had Days Undoing Narset in their deck, but they were doing other stuff too. The Uro, the Savine Zerak, the Gideon. If we cut 1 Days Undoing, 1 Hullbreacher, at minimum, like that's 2 slots that could be another Planeswalker or some other thing. You could rebuild the double Supreme Verdict, double Force of Negation, like Hate Pile into kind of a Stoneforge package and make people respect you going low, and then you have the Undoing combo going high. Kind of really into it with Uro, but you know me, I love Uro in all situations. Shark Typhoon is a card we could put in here. We saw an opponent who had it. This is a great snapshot of a deck that came out of nowhere, came out of Legacy's Past to win a tournament 1 weekend, and now it's all over the place, but the tech's already adapting to respect it. Carpet of Flowers, Shark Typhoon, Savine Zerak, really cracking open the mirror. And I suspect in another 2 or 3 weeks, we will not be doing this at all, just like last time. Days Undoing is one of those things that floats in and out of the metagame. The more ready the metagame is for it, the worse it is. And it comes at real deck building cost to do that. We'll see where that is in a couple weeks, but right now, my list here is slightly behind the curve. Some folks, I'm glad we could at least lose to a teched out version of the mirror, because that's where you probably want to be at this phase. If you're going to do this thing, do it a little lighter on the Undoing and go a little heavier on the fair plan. Brendan, thank you for letting me play this. Spunky, the hunt continues. Someday I'll get a trophy with a control deck. Everybody else, thanks for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, check out the Patreon to support the channel, and I'll see you next time.